Hi everyone, I've just got back from a weekend, an overnight trip, which I'm doing a video on with my Hennessy hammock. Went camping, got a Friday night free and it turned out to be beautiful weather, really good trip. But I mentioned at the beginning of the video about my rucksack, the Vango Sherpa. It's the improved version from the previous one, apparently. I think it's not improved, I think it's worse. But it led me to think about rucksacks in general and what do people do with their rucksacks. And what I mean is, do you butcher them, do you adapt them, do you add bungee cord to them, do you add pouches to them, what do you add? I add all kinds of things depending on where I'm going. But I'll show you what I mean. I'll show you this Vango Sherpa 65. I've just unpacked it. And it is spacious for 65 if you're going for a single night, and I took stuff for the dog as well, and we fitted everything in it. But the material itself is quite thick material. It's very heavy. There's room at the bottom here for your sleeping bag and your mat, etc. And there's plenty of room inside, and you know there's nice features like a double drawstring on the top bit, extends a little bit, and the drawstring there, a secure strap there, and you've got useful pockets on the sides. But on the front itself, the previous one had bungee cords strapping across, so you could tie stuff to the outside, and it's got these hoops so you can stick your carabiners on, which I do, and it's got these useful bungee cords here. But I prefer them being strapped across, which I'm going to have to adapt this one because I adapted the deuter straight away. And also as well with the Vango, they've got some nice pockets on the side here, which they're nice and deep, and they do hold your water bottles and stuff, no problem. But on the pockets themselves on the hip, there's no pockets there. So I adapted, like I've got my flashlight here, I've got a pouch for my phone, and on the other side, I need to take these off, but I've got a useful pouch there with some firelighter stuff. I've got my Leatherman, which I'm not using these days. I might bin the Leatherman. But yeah, so there's no pockets on here, which I find pockets around the hip belt really, really handy when you need to get access to stuff. So, I mean, where would you put your compass? I don't like sticking my compass in my pocket. I like to have these pouches around me. So back to this. It's got the adjustable, which is the same as the last model, the adjustable backpack. You can tell I've been in some pine forest. And it's got a pocket here, which isn't a really good shape. Can't really fit anything in it. I've got a Walkman in there because that's all I could think to shove in it. And you've got your adjustable chest strap with a whistle. Yeah, fair enough. But the back bit here, there's not enough gap between your back and this, and you get really sweaty. It's okay. It's a mid-range rucksack, but there's so many improvements that I make to them, and pretty much every rucksack that I come across. And let me show you my deuter. So this is the bigger, this is my deuter Air Contact Pro 70+15, but I've adapted it. So I put the bungee cords on, and I put the bungee cords across here as well. I can still have my carabiners clipped on it. This material is much lighter than what the Sherpa is. And admittedly, this is a high range. It's much more expensive, but they put more thought into it. You've got your pockets on the side. Personally, I'd rather have more. So even though you go up market or up range for the next category of rucksacks, I still always ended up changing them some way. I wonder if one of these companies would one day have a base rucksack and then allow you to put on the additions that you want, Like, I want 4 pockets on my hip belt. I want them waterproof. I want bungee cord and hoops on the back. And you know, it's like when you buy a car. Would you like the smart sensor parking? That's an extra £2,000, please. Do a similar kind of thing. Let people. Just an idea. Let people custom make before they even buy the rucksack. Because I've never taken a rucksack straight off the shelf without changing it some way. Do you guys? What do you do? It's my adjustment around the hip. It's like my Batman utility belt. What's your Batman utility belt on your rucksack? What does it consist of? Does it change from season to season, walk to walk? What do you do? I've been putting a lot of thought into this, and it'd be interesting to know what people do. Because quite often I see people walking and the rucksacks is literally, it's just the rucksack. There's no additions, there's no personalisation to them. Or maybe people just don't think and just shove stuff where they can get it, and if they need it, they take the rucksack off, which I find a major pain in the arse. If you do a 15-mile walk and you're doing an overnighter somewhere, or even 2 overnighters, and you've got a lot of distance to cover, you don't want to be taking your pack off all the time. You want to get access to stuff there and then. You want access to your map. You want access to your compass. You want access to water. You want access to anything that you might need. Your Leatherman, your knife. If you're getting late, you might want to get access to your head torch or your pocket torch without having to take everything off. Anyway, I'm going on now. Let's finish unpacking. The dog's absolutely exhausted. Look at her. That's a nice meaty bone in front of her as well. She can't even be asked to eat it. Talking about you. I'm tired. I know you are. Don't worry, we're not going anywhere else. Anyway. Yeah, what's your Batman utility? What's your ideal rucksack? What changes do you make? Let me know. I'll call it sun.